Hello and welcome to Now Chat Show. It's your girl Kaz Mac alongside this beautiful queen. Hey, Miss T, how you doing?
I am
How you doing,
good. I am so blissful. How are you?
I am blessed, I cannot complain. I just give thanks, The last few days has been testing. It's been like really feeling heavy. I don't know if you've been feeling it as well, but we just give thanks for this day.
Always.
Yeah. So what you been up to anyway before we kick into today's new series?
Today I had my first class of baby massage, Kaz.
Really?
It was so awesome. So awesome.
Okay.
So I trained 2 years ago, and because of the I haven't been able to practice. So an opportunity arose, and I grabbed it with both hands, and now I'm doing what I love. I'm working with mothers and babies and bringing the beautiful nurturing touch. So it's nurturing touch, baby massage.
Right. So what does that if you can describe, what does that entail, just in case anybody's watching and they want to know a bit more about this?
Okay, so nurturing touch is about connecting with your baby and knowing what your baby's needs are and what their wants are and what their cues are. So, for example, babies cry. That's how they communicate. So it's differentiating what cries for what. So, baby might be crying because baby's hungry or baby's not well. So maybe have a bit of colic. Sometimes they just want to be held and feel safe. So I train and I teach that to mummies, and it's awesome.
Amazing. And that must be so good, especially if you're a new mum as well. Do you know what I mean? You haven't got a clue, because sometimes that can be quite overwhelming,
Yeah. So I don't touch mummy's babies. I have my own. So I'm going to show you an example. So this is my baby.
What's your baby's name?
So I just named these two because I have two of these. And I don't know, some people will recall these from IKEA. So they had the brown baby, the Asian baby, and the Caucasian baby. And if you have got these, because IKEA don't make these anymore, if you have these, hold on to them, because they say that they're worth money now. So
I think you need to get a Zuri doll.
A Zuri doll?
Yeah, Zuri doll. So that's by Saffron, the Jamaican Patwa speaking doll. Just saying.
Okay, no, I don't want them to be talking back to me.
I just thought it would be more fitting for today's episode. That's what I'm just
I hear that.
Showing it.
These two are named after my children. So it's Nika and Cam. And I have another one that is at Leighton Yoga, where I'm practicing. And her name is Jennifer.
Jenny.
Yeah, and she has a name. She has a name and she has a story. I named her after a school friend who had some issues with holding onto her babies inside her. So she had quite a few miscarriages and unfortunately a stillbirth. And she had some issues and we worked through them. And now she has two beautiful children who are my godchildren. So
amazing. That's amazing.
I'll put them away. But
all right,
yeah.
Links.
Yep.
All right. So today's show, guys. So hey Kellyon, welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in. You could be anywhere, but you're right here with us instead of watching what's it, Love what do you call it? Love Island Love. What is that? I'm sorry. We can't assume. But anyway, all right. So I think we're just going to get straight into the show, because obviously, we don't want to be going on to like about 11 o'clock or so. Well, we don't know what's going to happen anyway. It may do, may not. But today, guys, today's topic is Blaxit. Is it Blaxit? Yeah, Blaxit to Africa or the Caribbean. So today's guest, we have two Repats. Jamaican Repats, basically who's gone back to Jamaica. So we've got Tremayne, who's a customer service manager, and she's an entrepreneur. So she's going to be sharing her story with us this evening. And then we have my boy in the building, Mr. Kwame McPherson, who is a authorpreneur. I mean, that's just, it's just so enough, isn't it? Like, can you just not just say entrepreneur, but he's like authorpreneur?
No,
But
he can't. He has to have his own coin, and that's it.
yeah, he's given himself his own label, and I'm sure people's going to be using it as well. So basically, he's an author. He's got so many books, and he's doing huge things in Jamaica. And yeah, we're going to hear more about him. So without further ado, I think it just makes sense to bring them onto the show now. What do you think, girl?
Come on.
Yeah?
Let's get
all right, so we're bringing Tremayne. Hey, Tremayne.
Hi.
How you both doing today? Thank you for joining us.
Doing very well.
Excellent. What's going on, Kwame?
It's here. Question I have for you though is, what's a repat? Yeah, what's a repat? I don't know repat.
Is that what it's called? You know me. Was it repat? That's it, repat. I knew it was something. Listen, you're gonna educate us. This is the whole point of the conversation. Yo. Repat.
Yeah, thank you very much. Repat.
Before we get started, what's a repat?
Repat basically means repatriate. It's a short word for repatriate, right? Which means basically going back to where you come from. Those who have that kind of lineage, those who have a heritage. So that's what it means. So it's, for example, parents came up in the Windrush. You know, the children who were born where from, they would repatriate to where that parent came from. So that's what it means. Repatriate. Right. It's a short word for repatriate.
Okay, so can I not just say repatriate and done?
Like, yeah, repat. Repat. Right. No, repat. Repat's on. Because they have expat and they have repat. An expat now, an expat now, or expatriate, which just what it means, is short for expatriate, means somebody who's in a different environment, but they don't have no lineage or connection to that place. So, for example, you may have, I don't know, somebody who, and like for diplomats, for example, they are diplomat corps. They're not connected. They have no direct connection working. So they're an expat, and so you would have also African brothers and sisters in the diaspora who are also expats because they don't have a connection, a personal connection to that place. So, for example, you may have African Americans who tend not to have a connection to the Caribbean or Africa directly, and they will be viewed as expats.
Thank you for that education.
Exactly.
Thank you. Because that's what it's all about. Definitely all about that. So let's just get straight into the conversation then. So you've explained about expat, repats, and now we are going to be talking about both your journeys individually, because you're currently living in Jamaica. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, I am.
And Tremayne, you are in the UK, but you live in Jamaica. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Okay, so let's kickstart this conversation. So we're going to start with ladies first. Makes sense, Kwame. So you just have to just circle over there.
Cool.
And
that's fine. I ain't no problem with that.
All right.
No problem with that.
So Tremayne, if you could just tell us what motivated you to move to Jamaica? Why Jamaica? What motivated you?
Well, you know, I was basically since 95. I have to give you a little backstory. I remember one summer my dad said that he's taking the family on a trip to Jamaica. So I remember I went when I was 8 and I hated it. So I was like, I'm not going to Jamaica. And they was like, you're mad, I'm gonna love it. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to Jamaica. Like, I'll go to America, but I'm not going to Jamaica. It was like, you're mad, go. So after persuading me, I finally said, I'll go, but I'm only going for 2 weeks. And they were going for 5. So I finally said, yeah, okay, let me just go. And we went on this long plane ride. It was 10 hours. We had to go through Canada. Who goes from Canada to Jamaica? And then I remember when we were on the plane, I was saying to the lady, where's the TV? Oh, we have no TV. I said, so where's the radio? Oh, we have no radio. I said, so what are we meant to do for 10 hours? And the woman was like, you entertain yourself. 10 hours. So thank God I was with
what was this?
I don't even know what airline. It was 95. I just remember that we went on the airline. There's nothing, no entertainment, nothing. So luckily I had my sister and my brother, but it was long. So I went to Canada, I got there and basically had the best time. Could tell you so many stories about Jamaica and, you know, experiencing it for the first time as a teenager. And I loved it. I was there 5 weeks, and I literally, as I got home, I booked a ticket to go back that Christmas in 95. I went in the summer and I went back Christmas, and then every year I was going like 2-3 times a year. And I was like, it doesn't make sense, because all I was doing is coming back to prepare to go back. And when people see me, they'll all be like, when are you going back? Or when did you get back? That's what people always say to me. So I thought, you know what? I just need to just go. And I've always said to myself, I don't want to be a person that talks about things and never does it. You know, those people say, boy, I really just want to move to this country or do this, but you never do it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to talk, walk the talk. So I said I'm going. So I planned to go. And then about 3 months before, my aunt, who has a radio station in Jamaica, Sun City Radio, she said she wanted me to be the general manager. So I was like, boy, I ain't doing too bad. So I've got a job already. So, you know, so, and also I was married to a Jamaican guy as well at the time. So yeah, so it just worked. And I was thinking, you know what, life's too short, just do it. And I went, and I'll tell you, the rest is history. It's literally like I'd lived there the whole time. I don't know if it's because, one, I was there all the time, and two, I did have a few family members that I would see. Oh, I was working with family, which maybe made the transition a little easier, but I just wanted to be around my people. And I was just tired of the rat race of being on the train and the rush hour and all of that. And I just love, when I'm in Jamaica, I just feel at peace. And I just felt that my peace of mind doesn't, you know, is worth more than the money. I was making like $3 a month at the job I was doing before I left. And people said, you really left them money there for come to Jamaica for this? So I said, you know what, yes. And when I'm at the beach and at Hellshire, I can go to Hellshire for lunch, and nothing doesn't beat that. So that's what really pushed me to go, because I was just very happy and at peace there. And I just love it. I love, and the greatest feeling, I remember like having a board meeting with, you know, at the station, and all the managers were black, and, you know, and just seeing successful black people, and that it was just so inspiring, and I just felt at home. So that's really the reason why I moved initially.
Amazing. That sounds amazing. So Kwame, so what motivated you to move back to Jamaica? What was the motivation behind that? You know what, Kwame?
Mango.
Listen, I will remove it out of the if you don't.
Mango, my motivation.
I'm moving forward like you can smell it too.
Why would you bring a mango? Now you know remember I brought a mango right now.
That's the motivation. You don't need to the motivation on a mango. Exactly. No, my story is kind of different in a way, because I was born in the UK, but my father and mother had divorced when I was very young. My father had always intended to come out to Jamaica, so I came to Jamaica from a very young age, from about 6, I think it was. So I had been living in Jamaica for my formative years. I worked, schooled, you know, I have my peer group and everything else. So it's only when I got into early adulthood, you know what I mean, in my early 20s, I think it was, I returned to the UK to finish education, because at the time, and still is, education was expensive. So but whilst I was in the UK, I was able to come back on a regular basis, because my intention was always to come back home. You know, I never thought I would settle anywhere else but back in Jamaica. So for me, it was you know, acquiring all the qualification and experience, traveling the world, you know, seeing the sights and all that kind of stuff, and then saying, all right, now the time for me to return home, and that's why I'm here, you know, to be a part of the transition that Jamaica's going through at this point in time. So for me, it's that was my journey. That is my journey, and so I'm here. You know, because my intention has always been to return home, always.
It seems like there's a slight delay on your side, but maybe that's a Jamaica Wi-Fi connection. Just saying.
Yeah, probably. probably. No, you're right. It could be, you know.
It doesn't put me off.
It doesn't put you off.
It could be. It could be.
I'm just running jokes. Okay, so so Tremayne, so you're currently in Jamaica. Which part of Jamaica are you currently at now, Kwame?
I'm in Portmore, so I live in Portmore in St. Catherine. But originally, when I was most of the time I spent was in Kingston 11 Mile Road, off Waltham Park Road. But then, as I said, I was married to a Jamaican, and he was based in Portmore, so I would always be in Portmore, so that's how. And then the station's in Portmore, so it just made sense for me to just get a place in Portmore, and I liked Portmore. I love Portmore.
Okay, so and whereabouts are you in Jamaica?
I'm in Kingston. I'm in Kingston. I'm in the capital. I'm in Kingston itself, actually, not too far from Harpertree, Stones through to Harpertree. So I'm right in the heart, so to speak.
Right. So in regards to because both of you very different in terms of the reasons, how you're in Jamaica. So in terms of say citizenship, passport, because you said, Kwame, you was living there when you was younger. Did you already had a passport, a Jamaican passport? You already had a Jamaican passport?
No, funny enough, no, I didn't. What had happened is that I traveled on my father's passport, like what happened with the Winners people, where the children traveled on their parents' passport. So that's what happened with me. So I actually have a British passport until I was probably just a bit older. But so I didn't get my Jamaican citizenship. I was naturalized, I should say, not neutralized, naturalized, because I lived in Jamaica for how many years. So I was a naturalized Jamaican, but then I had to ratify it in regards to getting my citizenship and getting my Jamaican passport, which is what I did later on when I became a young adult, well, an adult.
What do you mean by naturalized?
So that's what I had to do in that regard. But basically, I live in the country for more than 5 years. So what has happened when you're in an environment or in a country which you come to legally, not illegally, because like I said, I came with my father. You spent this, and like in Jamaica's terms, I spent my formative years, my young years. So I've been in the country for more than 5 years. So after 5 years, you become naturalized. As long as you come illegally, as long as you come legally, not illegally, as long as you come legally. So I came legally, so to speak, and then I've spent more than 5 years here. So I was naturalized in that regard.
Okay, and that's because you went up on your father's passport and you was living in Jamaica over 5 years. Right, got you.
Yeah.
So what about you, Tremayne? So how was you able to stay in Jamaica because of your husband? Because your husband's Jamaican, or how did that run for you?
Well, you know what? I'm not always someone that follows the rules. So I was just staying basically. And what was happening is every time I would come out of the country, because I often go to New York for Christmas or I come back here and I go back, they would say that, you've overstayed and it would be a problem. Once they put me in a room and had me for hours, I was like, oh my God, imagine if they don't let me into Jamaica. That would be a first. But and question me for hours, it was bad. But anyway, what I ended up doing is I got indefinite leave to remain from my mum. So because at that stage when I was getting stopped every time I came back into the country, I decided, at that point I wasn't with my husband anymore. So that's when I did it. I just did it through my mum, but I could have got it through him or through her. And I just literally went to the, I think it was the immigration office or somewhere. I went and brought her birth certificate and passport, and they gave me indefinite leave to remain. So it means that I can work and live and everything in Jamaica. So that's what I've done. But I definitely need to sort my passport out, because when you get to Jamaica as a foreigner, it's the process, the queues, everything's just so long. I have my Jamaican license, which I use for my ID and everything, but it makes a difference when you have the Jamaican passport. So for that reason, I definitely would want to go there. But then there's a flip side. When I go to different countries and people see the Jamaica stamps in my passport, sometimes I get treated differently when they see how often I'm in Jamaica. But yeah, I definitely need to get my Jamaican passport sorted.
Okay, so when you say when they see the stamp in your passport, you're referring to your British passport when they see
yeah,
and that's when they start to look at you questionably.
Yeah.
That's
And a lot of people have told me they've experienced that when they've gone to certain countries and they can see that you visited Jamaica often or you go often. You know, sometimes you can get treated or, you know, kept longer or asked more questions and stuff. Because at, you know, some points there is a stigma with Jamaica. I don't know why, because everyone loves it. But yeah, that's what I've experienced in the past.
That's deep,
Can I ask
man.
a question? So do you still have your British passport alongside?
Yeah, so the stamp, the stamp I've got is in my British passport from Jamaica.
And you don't have a Jamaican passport yet?
No, so I've got like, you could say it's like a visa. It's like a page in my passport that says I've got indefinite leave to remain.
And Kwame, do you have both or just one?
No, I have both. So as Tremayne said, which is true. So I use it to traverse both places. For example, I use it to go to the UK because it's easier to access, and I use it to come to Jamaica. Well, the Jamaican one to access Jamaica, and I use the British one to access if I'm going to the UK. And it makes it easier in regards to entering an environment, so to speak. So that's the reason why I have two, and I will continue to use the two. I'm entitled, and I will use it to whenever. You know what I mean? So and I'd say to anyone, if you know, if you have the ability to have dual citizenship or dual nationalities and dual passports, then do it and have it, because you know it's a means of access, really. You know, it makes it easier to travel around.
Yeah, so it makes a big difference.
So what is the requirement in order for you to get a Jamaican passport and to get citizenship? Just in case anybody's watching and they want to, you know, because you obviously
all right. So basically, what it is that once they have heritage or lineage or parentage, going back to I think it's a grandparent or probably even great grand. I'm not sure, but I know it's as far back as that. As long as someone can prove that they have that lineage through a birth certificate, mainly of either parent, grandparent, or grandmom, parent, or father or mother, then they can actually have access in order to become a citizen, because it's mainly based on heritage. You know what I mean? Mainly based on lineage, and the process in terms of that is proof of birth certificate. I think marriage certificate, if I'm for parents, if I'm correct, birth certificate of the individual making the application, and yeah, it's not a long process. It's a very easy process actually, but it's easier in Jamaica than it is outside of Jamaica, obviously, obvious reasons. And passport PICA, the Passport Immigration Customs Agency, is the one that deals with that kind of situation, and they can be found online. But it's not a difficult process, and anyone who wishes to become, for example, in Jamaica, and we're talking about Jamaica, all they have to do is check the heritage of their parent, and any Caribbean island actually. To tell you the truth, it could be any other Caribbean island. Once that parent is from Barbados, Guyana, wherever, and it can be proven to that agency that the parent is born and raised there, then the child or children can actually apply for citizenship.
Right. So if the person
and get a passport.
So if the person, so like your great grandparents or whoever is deceased now, how do you then go about getting their birth certificate or their marriage certificate? What is then the steps? What would that person need to do?
You would just go to the births and deaths
office. In Jamaica's instance, sorry.
Yeah. So there's different offices that you can go to all over the island, and you can get you just go in there, give them the details, pay a fee, and within a couple of days you can get a copy of the birth certificate that you would need. It's very straightforward. I've done it a lot of times, so it's very easy.
So if you say, for example, you're not in Jamaica, so say I'm in the UK, whoever's watching, they're in the UK or they're in the USA. So how would they then get that information if they're not, say, on the island itself? Does that make sense?
Okay, I can explain. I can elaborate. So so I can elaborate. So you have So you have RGD, which is Tremayne talking about, which is the Register General Department, and they're the ones who have all the deaths and records of births of individual Jamaicans, citizens in that regard, or Jamaicans. They're the agency that deals with the ability to prove, a birth certificate and so on and so forth. They are online, so it is an online access in which anyone who wishes to follow up or follow through on a particular case, that they can actually apply online. So and they have a helpline where people can actually get support in regards to particular cases if it's difficult to prove, whatever. But it's always best to be in Jamaica really to get those things started and moving. Reason being because it's easier, than being outside of Jamaica. But RGD, Register General Department, is accessible online.
And that's RGB. So, but the thing is, as much as you're saying it's easy
RGD Department, RGD.
Department. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
RGD. Yeah.
Right, but you're saying it's easier to do it when you're in Jamaica, but I've heard some really kind of daunting stories from people where they say they've gone to the to get their passport sorted out, and the picture or the birth certificate is, like, obviously if you're like say 50 or whatever the age is, your birth certificate is traveled. Do you get what I'm saying? So it may look a little tatty. And I've been told that they've actually been turned away and said, we can't do this, go get a better one. And they're in Jamaica. There's no way they're on their holiday for 3 weeks or whatever it is. And now they're told no, because their birth certificate looks slightly a bit tatty. So is it that easy?
Yeah, once you have all the documentation, in regards to the original documentation, and it is in good condition, it's not a difficult process. I can tell you that because I've done it. You know what I mean? Sometimes, and I don't want to make it sound like a generalization. Some people may think that it's like being in the UK. If you're in the UK or in the States for a matter, and you go to a department and the documentation that you take is not well seen, it's a photocopy, then they will ask you to go and probably get it notarized or get the original notarized and come back. And it's the same instance in Jamaica. If you have a document that is not present or presentable, they'll say, boy, listen, you can't come with that document there. You know what I mean? But once you have all the documentation in the correct order and them look good and they're okay, trust me, it's not a difficult process.
Right.
And but just to add, Kaz, that if you have a birth certificate, because my mum's one was really like, you could see that she's had it everywhere since she was born. So it was literally, if you blow upon it, it would have disintegrate. But when you go to the RDG, or the place where you go to get the birth certificate, you can pay for fast services. So that if you're there for 3 weeks, for argument's sake, or 2 weeks, you can pay to get 3-day, 7-day, 5-day, 10-day. So you can pay to get a copy in a quicker time period.
And roughly how much does that cost then if somebody wants to do
that? When I did mine, I think I paid like £3,000, £15 or nearly £20 at the time, but obviously the rate's different now. And I got it in no time. They called me like in a couple of days before I expected it to come and pick it up. So it is very quick now. It's changed.
Yeah, it has changed. And the services. Sorry, Ms. T.
No, continue, because I think it links anyway.
Okay.
I wanted to find out about like your social security. Is it the same process as well?
It is. For majority of government agencies in terms of that provide services, the speed of which they do the turnaround documentation is much quicker than it's ever been because of technology. So you will find, like Tremayne says, that you can get a passport within a week, fast track. I think that's about $7,000 if I remember right, or $10,000. You can get birth certificate fast tracked. You can also get your TRN, which is the tax registration number, which is very important in regards to doing business in Jamaica, because you can't do anything without it. You know what I mean? And you can get your NI also very just as quick, which is the national insurance registration. But the TRN is probably one of the most important documents you will need, whether you're a Jamaican citizen or not, because you can get it either way. But it's one of those documentation that you would need to transact business, you know. But yeah.
Is that the same thing that you would need also to open up your own bank account as well in Jamaica?
Yes.
TRN,
yeah. And depending on which bank you go to, there are different processes. Some may ask you for land and house and car, and some may just ask you for just documentation, and that's it. But some banks can be very stringent, and the process for opening a bank account can be very long. You know what I mean? It can be tedious. But there's particular banks you can go to where you don't have to face that, you know. But yeah.
And one thing I would add is that when I used to go to banks to open bank accounts, and as soon as you mention England, English, your British passport, that is it. They want the whole thing, whole yards.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so now when I do things out there, I don't mention that. I just go with my Jamaican ID and my TRN. I don't even mention the English passport or bring that, because it just opens a can of worms. They want all your tax returns. They want your credit report. They want everything. I've tried lots of different banks, and it's not easy. So I would suggest, if you have your IDs and stuff or your documents,
I would say, yeah. I would say it depends on which bank, because I can guarantee to you that there's banks that I know that won't ask for that, even British passport. You know what I mean? There's one particular bank that I know is very good that don't ask for that at all, really.
Which bank
aside from having a passport, you know, but yeah, there's some banks. It used to be an investment bank. It's now Jamaica Money Market Brokers, JMB.
Oh, okay.
So they know, and I think they're probably they're the third biggest bank. No, so their services is impeccable. I can't fault it in regards to this, what we have. When I say we, I'm talking about a particular group that I'm with. The service that we've been getting. So I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, Tremayne, because I know a friend of mine went to a bank and he spent like an entire day. I said, what? I went to JMB and spent 45 minutes to an hour with a colleague. You know, so it depends on which bank still.
Yeah, and once I went to the bank and I was trying to open just a savings account, and they told me, they refused me. They said because they don't know if I might leave the country. And I said, but it's a savings account, and it's it's not as if it's a bank account, it's a savings. And yeah, it was Scotia. They refused to open the account. They said, we have the right to whether we want to give the account or not, because we don't know, you might leave the country. I said, yeah, but it's my money, so how is that going to affect the bank? So there's certain things that they, they once you are from England, they might, say certain things to you.
Hold on.
How are they?
Yeah, that's the worst bank. There's like
so I'm just scratching my head.
I'm a bit confused, so what about, because Kwame, you sound very much Jamaican, and Tremayne, what about when you go in? Because I know I've been, and as soon as they hear my accent, it's a totally different ball game. So how do you manage?
Yeah. With me, you know what? It's because I know how to deal with them, and I know wagwan. So if I start to get certain talk from them, or they start to deal with me a certain way, then I just make them know, say, I know wagwan. So it's everywhere. When you hear that, it has advantages and disadvantages, because when you go to certain places, it's just, obviously Jamaica has a classism thing and a colorism thing. That's another topic. But when you go to certain places and you speak English, you definitely get attention, or you get served quickly, so it does have advantages. But then, you might go someplace, they hear the accent, they overcharge you. They deal with you like, we don't even want you here doing business. We just want our Jamaicans. And so it has advantages, disadvantages. But for me, I guess it's just how I communicate and how they deal with me. That's how I respond. So it's not really, I can't say it's held me back in a sense, It hasn't held me back, but yeah, they definitely will try to deal with you different in some situations, but not everywhere.
Because I've experienced I've had an experience.
You're gonna get that as a foreigner.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I've had an experience in the bank where I don't even know why there was a massive queue, and the security guard came over to me and he said, "Miss, come," and I was like thinking, we never do nothing. We just stay in the queue. You understand? So I just walked with him in it, and he just said, "Go on." So he brought me inside, and one of the brothers them say, "Yeah, what you want?" And I just got dealt with.
Yep.
I was like, okay. And I mean, obviously it was a blessing, but I felt sorry for the people that was outside waiting in the queue. And I don't even know why I get a bring in, because he wasn't even on a chirp thing. He just tell me if I come true.
So you look like a foreigner. Yeah.
You look like a foreigner. That's what that happens.
Yeah, you look like a foreigner.
They
Yeah.
stand out like
They can spot you a mile off. They can spot you. Now I'm at a point where people question it, or they more think I'm from America. But they know. I know when I'm there and I see people. It's crazy how now like foreigners stand out a mile. So yeah, they know that. That's what it was.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. So and you're gonna find that. Yeah, you're gonna find it after. Well, see, the thing is about blending in is not something that's gonna happen immediately. You have to be in Jamaica for a period of time before you actually blend in. You know what I mean? Before people get to know, and you get to know the nuances and the culturalization and the socialization, all that kind of stuff. And once you get to understand how to navigate, and people see how you navigate, you wouldn't be called foreigner. You wouldn't be treated any differently. You know what I mean? But you have to be in the country, underground for a fair period of time.
Yeah, definitely. Because one of my biggest challenges moving to Jamaica and working in Jamaica is Jamaicans don't have a sense of urgency. They don't have no sense of time.
Yeah.
So that was hard because, when you come from England, you're so used to things happening in at least a reasonable time.
Yeah, but
the only thing they do fast is drive.
But Tremayne, they do have a sense of urgency when I'm driving on the road, and I don't understand that.
You don't exactly. That's the only thing they do fast is drive. Everything else is slow, and obviously in customer service, you have to adapt to that. Like they will look on you like to say, "We are doya," and you're like, "I'm paying my money," but so you definitely have to adapt to the pace and certain things. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, Kwame, because it was a big eye opener in certain respects. Because I've been there all the time, but when you're having meetings and you're going to I'm sitting in the boardroom, nobody's there, and then I'm going to people's desk and they're like, I'm a soon forward.
I'm a soon come.
Yeah,
that soon come is like 3 hours.
Exactly, and I have to go back to them. So and then imagine me trying to manage lateness with all the staff, and it was very interesting to say the least.
But how did you find that? I mean, obviously because you're a customer service manager with how many years expertise?
Yeah.
So how did you actually manage, like you said, managing people with lateness? Could you was there HR system? Was there anything like that?
Well, that was the thing. That's why they brought me in to put processes in place and get the place in a certain structure and be professional. But boy, it was a task. It wasn't easy. And my aunt would say to me, because she speaks English like she's lived here the whole time, she would be like, Tremayne, you can't be nice to them. You have to tell them, she said basically tell them about them bomb. You have to deal with them, so that was challenging. But it's just basically just trying to show people the benefits of it, and just me being consistent in my approach and how I dealt with them. And also, part of being a manager, you have to learn how to get your staff's buy-in and stuff. And once I got their buy-in and built relationships with them, then they would more, be open to see what it's about and see the benefits of it. And when they was affected by people's lateness or unorganization,
That's right.
then they could see why it makes sense to be on time. And especially people are paying their money, especially, you know, in terms of the radio, where they're paying for airspace and paying for events to start on time. And, you know, so in the end they worked out, and now they're just like, oh, Tremayne, God, the place never run so good from when, you know, you was there, because, you know, having that westernized side of things and processes and style of management, it really had an impact on their office environment and experience. So yeah, it was challenging, it really was, but my thing is I'm really good with people, so I was able to really build rapport with them and just be consistent, and I stayed professional, and it really worked in the long run, which was good.
That's amazing. Yeah, go T, Miss T.
You mentioned, so you're not at the radio station anymore, so you've moved on to another job. How what's that process like? What's it like going for another job in Jamaica?
Well, when I came back to England to be a personal assistant to celebrity, so I did that for a year, so which was interesting, which I came to England and did that for a year, and then after that year I went back, and then yeah, looking for jobs was kind of tricky. It's really hard because in Jamaica a lot of it is not what you know, it's who you know. So a lot of jobs you get off the back of somebody knowing you, or you know, you got a link in there or something. So it is kind of tricky. And then in terms of like salary and stuff, yeah, so it was a challenge. In the end I said, you know what, I'm gonna start doing my own thing. And then COVID hit, and I started doing like online business of selling men's clothes and colognes and stuff. Yeah, and then actually I will be going back, but this time I'll actually be on the radio. I'm going to be on the morning show on the station when I go back, so I will be back in media again. But yeah, it wasn't easy. It was challenging. It definitely was challenging, you know. But everyone kept saying, with your experience and what you've done, it will be easy for you to get a job. But it's not that easy, because a lot of it is who you know out there, especially if you want those big jobs and good money.
Guys, it's a good team. We've got links, isn't it? Guys, we've got links.
Listen, mate, me have pure links. Pure links in Jamaica, isn't it, Kwame?
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. All right then. All right. So
you're cussing for my mango. You're cussing for my mango. Yeah,
mango. Yeah. This is. It's so deep. Yeah. I think I might have told you, Tremayne, about the story about the mango. So imagine, I must have been in Jamaica. I must have been about, I think it was 2011, and it was mango season like now. Yeah, and my cousin's neighbor must have had a mango tree, so she gave me a bag of mango. So I was, you know, when you're just excited, I was like a little kid, so excited. You know what, Kwame, I hope you don't choke anyway. So anyway, mango dust. You know,
I'll show you what a mango look like. The mango.
Anyway, back to the story. So I'm eating the mango. My cousin must have gone up the road here. She must have been on a look running. And I'm eating a mango, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just so, you know, you're just like so excited about the mango because the mango is sweet. I start seeing movements in the mango. I'm like, oh, what that? No mango worm. You know, and just like, oh my God. You know what? I'm not even gonna lie. I still carried on eating the mango. I dashed that one, but then I got next.
You got over it quickly, yeah?
Yeah, you have to examine the mango for any black holes.
I don't even care. Like next time, I'll probably just make sure I'm in a dark room and just eat the mango. Okay, so that really goes nicely into this next stage of the questions that I want to ask. So about healthcare, like healthcare services in Jamaica, how does that? I mean, obviously both of you coming from the UK, and we've got the National Health Service. How is it for you in terms of, you know, like the healthcare service in Jamaica? Like, have you been sick over there? Would you go and make anybody cut you over there? Like, what's the procedure for you?
Well, the thing is with the healthcare in Jamaica, it's like in the States. They basically have to pay for the service, right? So if you have the funds and the means or insurance, like exactly like what happens in the States, then you're able to have a level of healthcare. But what I would say is that I was able to get myself a doctor as soon as I came, and comparing the type of service that's available. I remember when I was in London, I went to visit my GP. Now, I had to wait for him to call me to find out if there was anything wrong with me. I couldn't go into the surgery just off the road. I couldn't do that. And then if I said to him, boy, he said, then I would be able to book an appointment, right? And then should I be able to see him, I'll probably get 2 to 5 minutes, if that. In Jamaica, I can leave my house now and just drive past the doctor and just drop in, right? Even though I may have to pay if he decides that I need prescription or any additional help or services that I may need. Now, I'm probably able to do that because I can. But the reason why I'm sharing that is, even though the service is free in the UK, I still would have to wait until somebody allowed me to see the GP or the doctor. Whereas in Jamaica, even though I have to pay for the service, I can just leave my house and pass by the doctor and just drop in. And we can sit down and chat from now till tomorrow morning. So that's just a basic thing. But aside from that, I would also say that in terms of healthcare, depending on what kind of ailments, there's a lot of natural remedies. You know what I mean? I was sharing that, in terms of, for example, I can go out and pick guava leaf off of the tree and boil guava tea. And that's good for diabetes and high blood pressure. You know what I mean? So it has checks and balances in regards to what may be offered in the UK in terms of our free service and what someone can do in Jamaica and how they can look after themselves more so than they probably in the UK. So for me, managing my health in Jamaica is much easier than I could have done it in the UK because of the foods and all that kind of stuff. Whereas in Jamaica, you can't complain when you have this. Come on. Fresh, and that's something coming off freezer box. You know what I mean? So you can't. So when you weigh up those things, you realize that you can have a better, healthier lifestyle in Jamaica, and that's how I see it. You know what I mean? Even though there's a free health service in the UK.
But that's interesting. Yeah, go on, Tremayne.
I was just going to say that I had experience last year where I slipped in the shower and dislocated my thumb, and you could imagine the trauma because literally my thumb was just literally came around here, so it came out and moved. Yeah, and I went to looked to Huey, but I was lucky because it was a day where it was a Labour Day, and it was curfew day as well. There was no movement day because it was COVID. So I was lucky there wasn't much people there, but the service I received, I have to say, it was good. And the cost wasn't that much because I had to get injection. They had to put my thumb back in place. I had to get x-ray. I had aftercare treatment to come back in a week. So my experience of Huey was good. And only the thing I would say is when I had to go back 4 weeks after, they the wait was long the whole day, literally. But still, considering my experience of it was a good experience, and even if I had to go to the doctor for other things, there's a doctor down the road, and you pay to see them. And it's hard getting used to that, everything. You pay to see them, you pay if they give you a prescription, then you pay for the prescription. So normally, you just go to the doctor and sometimes you pay for a prescription, but, over here, but there, I have to say, I've heard the stories of public. I've been there a couple of times and it seemed fine to me, but there are, and some people say public is sometimes even better than some of the other hospitals because they have a lot of doctors there and they have a lot of facilities that other hospitals don't have. But my experience has been positive, and as Kwame said, there's so much things that naturally that you can use to heal yourself. So I don't think, to me, in my experience, the health care hasn't been as traumatic as people make out. But I do feel if I had a big surgery, if I could, I probably would do it here because maybe I could get it free. But if I had, you just have to have money in a sense, and you can have great treatment. But as he said, you definitely can have a healthier life, so you won't need as much hospital care or treatments or doctor treatment as you would in other countries.
That's interesting because obviously I've heard a lot of people say that they go US and get certain treatments done and things like that rather than getting done in Jamaica. So it's quite interesting to hear both your perspectives regarding the healthcare. So do you guys have like healthcare insurance, or is that?
No, I don't.
I will have insurance because I'm gonna have a business, so I can always attach it to the business. So definitely, yeah.
Right.
Is your business going to be shipping mangoes?
No. This is, by the time the container reaches the wall for England, man, can't rub that and teeth on every mango in there. No, it's not, you know. No, it's okay.
Anyway, so what is your business? Because I know you do. You're a part of it. It's Bear Jamaica, but we're going to talk about that on the 27th, isn't it, with Clarice, right?
Yeah. Black expats and repats in Jamaica.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that then. I think because otherwise it's just going to get a bit, because we're going to obviously have that.
Yeah. But I do have other businesses too,
Like
I do have other businesses.
So would you like to share?
Well, it's also associated with the diaspora to a great extent. It's in regards to making investments in Jamaica through the stock exchange. So that's one business. Also looking to do my own business in regards to my core, which which is writing. So looking to partner with another diaspora and a return year repat and putting on writing workshops online and offline. So that's another business. Just be a consultant in terms of a business consultant. So there's quite a number of things opportunities that exist here, which I can exploit positively, and so that's what I'm doing. But the one that we're going to talk on that is also a part of the other business that I'm doing. So I've got a few irons in the fire, so to speak, to continue to grow and to make sure that they get up and running. So.
Okay, so guys, if you want to find out more about Kwame's other business, please make sure you tune in with us on the 27th of July to find out about that business. Yeah. Okay, so Miss T, do you have any other questions? Because I've got a list of questions.
No,
not
at the moment. I'm sorry, my mind is still with the mangoes because because I'm thinking about mangoes. My nephew just turned 3 yesterday, so happy birthday to my baby Tay Tay. And he lives in Sheffield, and so when he says mangoes, he says mangoes, and he will only eat mangoes from Jamaica. So when anybody comes, he knows like this baby is just like, if you give him any, he just knows that no, I don't want that. But you say to him it's from Jamaica, he's all over it.
He's probably going to move to Jamaica later on in life. So the mangoes. My next question for you both is, what do you like the best about living in Jamaica? What does it for you living in Jamaica?
Want to go, Tremayne?
Okay. And there's so many things. I don't know where to start. I love the humor because the people are just so funny. And when they tell you the simplest story, it's funny. You hear them talking about something and you think, what? Who was that? What? And then they're just talking about a TV show. They make it out like they know the person, and I like when you go to the movie theater and there's a horror movie and they say, run, let's see the doctor. And I'm just like, hello, I'm watching the movie. So I just love the people. Everything is funny. You're walking down the street, yes, funny, tickles, all the eyes is like the sun ray, and they're just so creative with they're talking to you. So I love the people, the culture. I love just being able to be close to the water and you know, near the beach, and it's just so beautiful. So many places in Jamaica. It's like, it seems like it's unreal, picturesque, and I just love, you know, the food. There's so much things, and I like that in Jamaica you can do anything if you have money. I just love that. You know, you can do anything if you've got the money. So I like that. You can pay a man, and you know, it's just, I just like that anything can get done out there if that's what you want to do. Over here, you have to go through so much different, you know, loopholes and, you know, to get things. But in Jamaica, if you know the right person or you have the right money, you can do what you want. So I like that. And I just, I just like being around my people, seeing black people. Sorry?
Do you drive in Jamaica, Tremayne? How does
that? Yeah. Everyone says that they don't know how I do it, but it's just easy. And I drive like everywhere. I've been from every part of the island. I've been on roads where there's no road. I'm driving and I'm like, nah, where's the road gone? When it, like, you know, they had a lot of rain one year and the road had broken away on no side of the road. So I've done everything. I stop and change wheel and so I drive. I've been everywhere in Jamaica, like nearly every parish and Gully Hills, drive through rain up to nearly up to the window. I've driven it, done everything. So I drive. I love driving out there.
Nice. So one of the questions that's just come to mind, because I know a lot of people will ask about your safety.
Yes.
Safety. So
the other side to Jamaica is my dad always says to me, if you go like an idiot, they will take you for an idiot. So you just have to be alert, especially in certain places. I just don't go to certain areas. Like my mum will say, oh, I saw on YouTube they killed 10 and murdered 9. And I'm just like, where? Like, if you follow YouTube, you wouldn't go to Jamaica. But I don't experience that when I'm there. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I might go Mario and say, yeah, doesn't kill the boy, and I just don't experience that. So there is that side. And when I first went, I used to go party a lot at night time, and I live on my own and drive out at night. And I would, you know, people say to me, how do you go out that late 3 in the morning? You come back 5 in the morning. But I just, one thing, get in my car, lock my doors, and I just make sure I don't go on those side roads. I drive on main roads, and where I live is a gated community, so I feel safe. But you have to be alert, and I just don't go to certain areas as well. And you just have to be, when you go to certain places, just be aware of your surroundings. But it doesn't put me off at all, you know. And some areas I've lived in or partied in, you know, is classified as hot spots, or you wouldn't go there. But, you know, that doesn't faze me. But you have to be alert and be aware of your surroundings.
That's like anywhere, though.
Exactly.
You know, you hear a lot. I mean, the stories that you do hear, like if you listen to them, you definitely wouldn't go. But I always say to them,
you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't go.
You know, you just have to, like you said, keep your wits about you and be wise.
And certain places you go, I'm there, my cousin, she's there, and you know, she's been there like since last couple of years, but obviously COVID, and she's newer to the place than me, and she's got her car, she goes about her business, she goes out at night. She's fine. It's where you go, and it's to be aware of what you're doing. But we don't experience what people say, you know, about Jamaica. So it really does come down to the people you are around and the areas that you go to, you know. So, but it's fine. I would recommend anyone to move to Jamaica.
Yeah, that's true to me. Yeah.
So the question to you, Kwame,
yeah, for me,
what do you like about living in Jamaica? What is it you like?
Freedom. Because when I realized being in the UK, the freedom is a fallacy. It's not true. You know, it's and there's a lot of angst. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you're just not free. You're not free to do and be who you really want to be. It's all contained. You're restricted. And I found that when I was working in organizations, and there's part of the things I wanted to explore. And obviously, and for me, coming from Jamaica, I didn't know nothing about institutionalized racism until I ended up in an organization. And then I saw it for what it was. And then when you hear about the stories of, how our poor parents went there, the young people growing up in that environment, how they were treated in school, teachers telling them they're not good enough, all that kind of stuff, But so for me, it showed that really we're not free in that country. Like I said, my intention was never to be there anyway, to live there. So my intention was always to come home. But for me, the biggest thing is freedom. And like Tremayne said, jumping in a car, driving somewhere, looking at the beauty, The people are wonderful, the place, it just gives you that peace, that serenity, that you don't have this angst. There's a story that I share, and when I was sharing with some friends here, because like I said, I have my peer group here, and I was sitting down with them and I said, listen, you know what's interesting? I said, the peer group in London, same age group, virtually every other day or every other week, somebody dropped down dead for whatever reason, whether it was through health, through stress, they must drop down dead. Young people, they're talking about like in the 40s and 50s and so on and so forth. And when I compare that to my peer group in Jamaica, that wasn't happening. They probably died because of, being in an accident or unfortunately a victim of crime or something like that. But it's in terms of just being, none of them were dropping on dead. And I realized that the stress in the UK, a lot of people are so stressed out that it does take it to heart and it was dropped on dead. You know what I mean? So for me, like I said, it's a mental, physical, spiritual freedom that it's not even the material stuff for me. It's just being able to have a free mind. You know what I mean? And even though Jamaica has its isms, you're still free. You know what I mean? And Tremayne's right. Moving on to the topic about the question that you raised, Ms. T, in regards to crime. I haven't, and my brother was shot, so I can say that. My brother was shot 7 years ago. But he, as a matter of fact, when he got shot, he's still alive. When he got shot, he blamed himself for being in a situation where he wasn't alert. And this is in Kingston. And Kingston, being an urban area, tends to be where a lot of things can happen. You know what I mean? Outside of Kingston, it may be a man with a man who have beef. It probably have domestic violence. You know what I mean? Gang business. When you're not in that type of situation there, you're pretty fine. You're fine. You know what I mean? I'm in Kingston, where war is happening. I can tell you that. And I don't feel intimidated and I don't feel threatened. But again, like Tremayne said, it's about association, and a lot of what tends to happen, even though the random stuff does happen, but what tends to happen tends to be about association, about who people associated, where them go, what kind of event it is, that other people are involved in, and all that kind of stuff. When you don't have that around you, or you're not associating in those environments or with those people where things can happen, you're all right. You know what I mean? So like Tremayne says, I've driven all over the island. And every nook and cranny you can say I've been, more or less. And I'm fine. I've never felt any way. And like I said, I've no incidences where close friends of mine have been. But they're more or less. They never leave. You know what I mean? They're not going away. They're not going nowhere.
Yeah, Tremayne. Yeah, just something.
Yeah, just to add, like when living in England, when you leave your house, it's like as soon as you leave your house, it's like you have to put on this protection or this cloak, because anything can happen as a Black person. So when you go to work, you speak a different ways. In some instances where you work, you're around a lot of white people, so you're aware of how you speak. You don't want to come across as aggressive when you're just being passionate.
Exactly.
And, on the train or anything that happens, a police officer can stop you. When you're in Jamaica, you can just be yourself. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So, when you leave your house here, you don't realize it. But as soon as you step out of the safety of your home, then you know that you have to be careful, because if something happens and it's a white woman and a black woman, then more or less they're gonna accuse the black person of doing whatever it was. When you're at work, you can't be like how you are at home with your family and friends and stuff, if you're in certain offices or industries. So it's really about, as Kwame said, it's just being free, that freedom that you can just be yourself and don't have to worry about how people are perceiving you, the words you use, the tone you use, the volume you use. You don't have none of that. You're just free to just be you. And that is so nice and light. And as Kwame said, there is a sense of peace with just being able to be free, free-minded in a sense,
Yeah, and I'm going to share a story, because me, I'm a storyteller. So let me share this story. So one year I came back to Jamaica, right?
And I love to tell a story.
Right? One year I came back to Jamaica. As a matter of fact, I came back for a job interview with Jam Pro. That's why I came back. About 96 I came was. So I said, all right, I'm going for this interview, and I'm by New Kingston, right by Trafalgar Road. And I not tell no lie. This is what I love about Jamaica. And it happened a number of times. Now this is one time. So they look good. I'm not telling a lie. Dress nice jacket, nice pants, lovely shoes with a briefcase. So I stand up by the sidewalk, right?
What color was the briefcase? What color was the shoes? Because you never go into details like that. The Jamaicans, they say, and the shoes brown and rare and this. Yeah.
The shoes are the nice shoes. Like I said, they did look good. I'm not telling a lie. Lime green jacket and blue pants and they look good. I'm not telling a lie. So anyway, so I'm standing up by Trafalgar Road, waiting for, I think it was for a taxi. And a woman passing by in a car. And she said, "Hi man, Mr. Man, you look so good. You're not supposed to stand up by sidewalk." And that's what I love about Jamaica. You get people who will tell you, I'm on Half a Tree Road. Yeah, man, I'm on Half a Tree Road and I'm walking towards Juicy Patty. No, I have bandy legs, you know what I mean? I have bandy legs. So I know some bandy legs, And a woman that drive past, push her head out of her car. And she said, "You look good, I love your bandy leg them, your pants fitting nice." Hey, listen. If you want to hear them,
Jamaica, man, I love it.
Trust me. I stopped, my brethren stopped recently in a gas station and I went some shots. And I'm going into the gas station store to buy something. The security guard looked at me and asked me if I'm muggle. I'm so you mean? You leg them, she said. I'm saying, trust me. She said, you have good legs, man. I said, yeah, listen. So for me, them little thing there, trust me, man, you won't get that. You're not getting that anywhere else in the world. And that's what I'm talking about, freedom. When people can speak their mind and make you feel good. Then I tell you, you must feel good about yourself, whether you want to feel good about yourself or not. But it make you feel good. You know what I mean? Then man, you're not getting them things in England. Nobody not gonna look at you. They're gonna look at you like you're a pervert. Or something like that. You know what I mean? So for me, that's what I'm talking about, freedom. You know what I mean? That's for me, those are the things to me, it's about freedom.
But that's one of the things I love about Jamaica, because if you suffer with low self-esteem, Jamaica is the place to go, because it will build, Jamaicans will build you up.
Yes,
it's so direct in their talk and everything else. I remember one time I must have been in, it was Tasty Patties, yeah. It was Tasties. And it was me and my parents and I think it was my uncle. Yeah, it was in a because it's like about 3 people to serve you the one patty, yeah? And I remember my dad said to the woman, and he stared at the woman and said, "You don't look too bad, but all if you smile, you'll look good." And I was like, "Dad, how are you gonna say that to the woman?" Like, and she starts smiling. She started to smile. You understand what I'm saying? But I was like, it's the directness. No one don't take no offense. It's just like you have to become thick skinned. And if you're not thick skin, you're gonna become thick skin within like a
yes, that definitely. I experienced that for sure. You have to be thick skinned. When they just say black beauty and African and all types of things they call me, I think fuck it. And I'm just like, I am not fat. But they don't say it as fat. It's just,
you look good.
Yeah,
exactly.
They are straight to the bone when it comes to what they think and how they speak. You better be ready. So you get thick skin, definitely.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So
Yeah, man. For freedom.
Another question. So for those, I don't know, do either of you have any children?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. So I
No.
wanted to find
Sorry.
What's the question though? What's the question? What's the question, though, Ms. T? Because I can help.
Okay, so I wanted to find out if you have children and you're going back, how to integrate them back into Jamaica, into education and things like that. Is it easy?
That's interesting.
You know?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I'm a part of a group which, like Kat said, we're going to talk about in the 27th. And within the group, there's a number of people who actually have brought back their children. As a matter of fact, one of them is a good friend of mine, and she's in St. Elizabeth. And she says her son, she moved from Ireland. She was in the UK, moved to Ireland, and moved from Ireland to here. And she says the improvement that her son has made in school in comparison to where he in the UK, for example, was the strides in terms of confidence, in terms of his own intellect, in terms of his, he's now, I think he's top of his class really, and that's because of the support that he's getting in terms of the teaching and being free because he's able to run up and down, climb tree, he's out, all that stuff. So it's not enclosed. So she said that she's so glad. She's so glad that she brought it. You know what I mean? She's so glad that she brought him here. She's so glad that he's been able to adapt because children adapt quicker than adults do. And he's living his best life. So I can take that as an example that there are those children who I don't know have come and the parents have brought them down and they've gone into schools and they may struggle for a bit because it's a different way of teaching in Jamaica for one. But after a while they do tend to excel. They get to excel. They get to excel. But like I said, not my personal experience, but experiences. Yeah, man, it is by far experience of others who I know do have done.
Excellent.
But yeah,
I was able to take my children. I think it was 2015, and unfortunately, my parents never brought me back to Jamaica. So for me, it was a real issue. The first time I came down to Jamaica, I think I was about 21, and I literally was working with a sister that I'd known probably a few months, and she turned to me one day and said, "Do you want to come to Jamaica?" And I jumped at the chance because I'd never had the experience. So I went for 1 week, and everyone was like, "Are you mad?" I said, "I don't care.
Oh, wow.
I've got somebody to go with." And I went for a week, and obviously it's not even enough time. Like it was torture. I didn't want to come home. So for me, I had that desire, especially if I had my children, like I need to take them while they're young so they can experience it.
Yes.
We went up and down the island for 3 weeks. We went on the Knutsford. We went uptown, downtown, everywhere. And the experience was amazing. And I let them mix with other Jamaican children. And yeah, it made their skin tougher. But they keep asking me now, like, when are we going back? When are we going back? So I think it's really important. My children at the moment are having talent in school now. And I think totally different ball game. Be the challenge at first, but I'm confident that they would assimilate quite quickly because they're seeing children that look like themselves, and they're seeing teachers that are dealing with them, their identity, their culture, and that's refreshing. I think that is something that is not kind of pushed enough in terms of when Brexit happened, we were talking about it, and one of my things was, why isn't it an option for us to just go home? Why are we not talking about like, okay, they want to do that, why don't we do this? So I think that for a lot of parents in particular, they feel fearful of the crime, their children. So I'm glad that you have kind of like expanded on that.
And the thing is, and you're right, because you see, one of the things, the narrative it tends to be very negative. Narrative coming out of Jamaica is always negative, and you never hear anything positive about what's going on in Jamaica, anything good that's going on in Jamaica. You never hear about the successful stories that people have come and made Jamaica their home. So I think that fear factor is you're correct, and that stopped a lot of people, because if they heard a lot more success stories, they would probably start to think, you know what, let me check this out, let me do some research, let me see how I can actually integrate or head back home. You know what I mean? But a lot of it's fear based on what they've heard. You know?
Yeah.
Kwame, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I'm here.
All right. I wasn't sure just then. It's
Yeah.
just like, look, I can say, it's the Jamaican Wi-Fi connection.
It is. Digital, man. None of them are good. Digital or Flow.
Digital. What's happening with Flow? Because I hear Flow is robbing bare people right now.
Yeah, man. Flow is worse. So the good thing we have Digital. But yeah. one of those things of being in Jamaica. But yeah, but to continue the point, just elaborate a little bit more in terms of why a lot of black people are now starting to look, as you said, Miss T, why it's not spoken about more. I think, after George Floyd, after 2 years of pandemic, and people started to look and started to reassess and prioritize what they wanted out of life. I think that this movement is starting to gather momentum, But in saying that, and it's a discussion I had with Kaz, is that there's a lot more movement in North Americans, our brothers and sisters in America, than there is from the UK. But it will probably catch up still, But
yeah, and that's going to be another conversation.
It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, because that's another conversation that we're going to be having with Clarice
on the 27th.
On the 27th, because obviously she's African American and she's now living in Jamaica. And it's kind of ironic that you're finding more of the Americans are moving to the Caribbean or going to Africa, whereas us over here in England are not trying to make that move. We just wanted to just stay over here, like to say, this is home. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's going to be quite interesting to her perspective to why she made that move to Jamaica. And there's a whole movement as well that's going on, because I'm even having Zoe from the Exodus Collectives. She's moved over from the UK to Grenada. So she will be joining us. I believe that's on the 20th of July. So we have a lot in store for you guys. You're in for a treat. But one of the questions I wanted to ask next was, what is your, what's been your biggest challenge being in Jamaica? Like for yourself, if we start with you, Tremayne, what's been your biggest challenge being in Jamaica?
I don't really have a lot of main things to say about that. The most thing was adapting just to, like, when you go into business organizations or you go into stores, and just the customer service and how people deal with you, and they're there to give a service, but they're acting as if, you're begging them something. So that was really hard, and I would love to be a part of, working on that over there in the country. It's definitely improving in some organizations and stuff, but it was more that had to adapt to. What else would I say? A funny thing I've learned to adapt to recently is when I was in Jamaica, the last time I was back there, like I was just in the sun. And they said, British, you can't sit down in the sun for long. And I'm just saying that, what? I love the sun. I want the sun. Yes, give me the sun. So, but then now when I see my skin, I'm just like, actually, that was not good to be sitting in the sun. So I was thinking, black people, we back to 50, back to this, we're black. So we can deal with the sun. We're from Africa, like, hello. But it definitely does realize that it does affect you.
That would be me. That's straight. I'm that person laying in the sun.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the sun. So they'll be like, no, man, come in and shit. And now when I see my skin, even though it probably is impact of the dry water, the bad water over here, because in Jamaica the water is very soft, so maybe that's drying out my skin more. But definitely, I would say be mindful of being in the sun for long periods of time, and I've been told that there are some sun protection oils that we can use that is really good for our skin and does protect us from the sun. But I don't really have much. It's more like adapting to the customer service and people. When I started at the radio station, it's just not having a sense of professionalism or what it's like to have a structure or processes. So that was my main thing. But I guess I was in Jamaica all the time, so I was just used to everything, most things already.
Yeah.
What about you, Kwame?
I don't have any challenges at all. I remember, you know what I mean? I've seen the good side, I've seen the bad side, I've seen the wonderful side, I've seen the, you know what I mean? So, I don't have any challenges, to tell you the truth. It's like Tremayne says, it's a matter of understanding the nuances and adapting to them. And an example, up to yesterday, me and a friend who come from England, come from London, went to a restaurant. So the person who come to serve us, she looked vexed. What I mean says she looked, our face make up her way. Someone said, girlfriend, how trouble you? How come you not smile? And it's that little banter alone made it to change the situation, change the energy. You know what I mean? So when you start to understand the nuances in terms of just saying something about, we went into the bank. It's the same GMB, me and him went to open an account and everything. And there's a nice, beautiful woman at the reception. Now she had blue fingernails in terms of how they painted and a blue blouse, right? So I said, so if you change your fingernails to red, would you have those? And she started laugh.
What do you say if you change your fingernails to what, red?
And after we went inside, red, yeah, which I want a red blouse. And she started laugh. You know what I mean? But and the reason I'm sharing that is that there's little things that changes energies quickly. And when you get to understand Jamaica, when you start to understand how things work, the little banters help in terms of breaking ice, getting better service, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. And when you get to understand them things there, then you get to understand how you can move and adapt and navigate Jamaica. So for me, like I said, no, for me not a challenge. You don't know a challenge. Me all right. me good. Me don't forget running in the challenge.
You need to run some workshops for me. Run some workshops for the people then, so they can run some work.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that. We're gonna be doing that.
Oh, really?
We're gonna be doing that. We're gonna be doing that. Yeah. We're gonna be doing that.
So what was you going to say, Tremayne? Because I see
I was just going to say the challenge of dealing with the police out there. That's a challenge.
Ooh, child, come on. You have money.
Exactly, but for me, you see, like if I get a man police stop me, it's good. But if the woman stops you, you're going straight to jail.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the men, that some of them would say, may I give you a little time to think about what you do, and I'll come back and they're thinking, they're basically saying that work out how much money I got give you.
Yeah.
So I just put it in, when you pass me your documents, you can put, I was just like, really?
Yeah.
So dealing with the police is challenging because, you get the police that, boy, it's an experience, but, if you can talk, just like Kwame said, then you can get through. So I always can talk, so I can get out of things, but a lot of them, they want money, so the corruption in terms of the police, sometimes that can be challenging, so that is a challenge. When you get stopped, you better have money, especially if they hear that you're foreign. You can't give it typical thing. But anyway, that's just what I heard. Yeah.
So, you see, again, what I was going to say, that's what I'm saying. So those are little nuances that exist in Jamaica. You know what I mean? I've been stopped by police umpteen time. You know what I mean? I remember once I was driving on the highway on the North Coast, and I'm flying out, driving up. And, of course, I'm step out around a corner, and they flagged me down. And funny enough, I had a friend from foreign in the car. So I said, listen, you talk. I'm not going to say anything. You know what I mean? So then she said, "Hi, officer, how you doing?" And start, you know what I mean, start twanging and everything. And all right. And that's, "Oh, you come from foreign." You know, and then I showed him my ID. I don't say nothing, you know, because I have a British driving license, so a UK license, European license. So I gave it to him. I said, "Oh, they come from Britain, British, you're British." So I don't say nothing. And she continued talking to him and everything. Eventually, said, "All right," he said, "All right, listen, you know, for take time drive and Ray, and some say I would drive off. We didn't have to give me any money or anything." So, but the thing is, but like you said, Tremayne, you just have to know how to navigate certain things. Another time when I was stopped, yeah, you know what I mean? It come and say, I saw Kerma say, "Yo, you have speed too." I'm showing the gun and everything and the speed, and you know, for coming to the car and Kerma to where his colleague was to write up the ticket and look at me and said, "So what kind of work you do?" So London you come from? I said, "Yeah, London, I'm there based on consultancy work." He said, "Oh, yeah, consultant." I said, "Yeah, man, you know them things them do." So okay. I said, so like the two of them know him, I said, so I had a friend in there, another friend who come from London, and somebody said to him, "Let me go talk to him." I said, "I can go on." He said, No. I look upon him, look upon the other officer and say, "My brother, you want to go talk to him, brother?" "Yeah, I want to tell this thing for." You know, I mean, the fee said probably it's a sting, right? So I said, "All right." So anyway, in the end, you know, the flash out, I'm saying, "All right, officer, where I deal it." So I say, "Yeah, man." So, and you know, give a small and gone. But sometimes I'll go to the station and buy them a crate of beer and say, when they share that amongst themselves and them things. They don't for sure appreciation. Because them not really getting the money, you know. But yeah, again, it's a matter of how you navigate them little thing there, you know.
That's kind, man. That's nice though that you actually thought
Still
ahead. Let me just give them a little crate. Bless them, you know. You just come and bless up the police them, so they don't find you. But do they know your name though?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, the officers.
Go, Tremayne.
I would say that the officers, I would never say a police officer, because every officer that stopped me looked me. I've had officers that's come to where I live and asked. And I remember one night I was driving at the gate and security flagged me down and say, "Oh, Miss Phillips, you know, the police was here looking for you." I said, "The police was looking for me." So I was like, "I'm not a criminal. What could the police be?" But the man, because I had to tell him where I live, the man came and was asking, "Oh, I'm British live here and where?" And, you know, I've had them call the station, want to take me out. So I wouldn't date a police officer, because all of them, they must have the most woman. I tell you. Because they all,
yeah.
Iola's asked the question. She didn't answer a question, but what she says, the lack of customer service is a big issue, and the thing is they don't behave the same with white people. It's the same here in the UK, which I 100% agree with. Go on, Kwame.
Yeah, but it's like, again, but I was gonna say, but like I said, it's these are things that don't have an expectation. You know what I mean? Don't have these high ideas about customer service, and no, Jamaica is what it is. You understand? They're gonna deal with you differently from they deal with a white person. I just saw it set. You know, they're trying to move the police force into a more modernized way of dealing with people, which I've seen and experienced. So I don't know about how them deal with the white people, because I can't tell. I don't know. I haven't seen that for myself personally. But in regards to the service has changed a lot. I can tell you that, based on experiences that I had with them from before. One time they used to be very rude in terms of how they deal with you. Nowadays they can be very courteous. Mind you, then we will end up with the same thing in terms of, you know what I mean, what, you know, smiles or whatever. But the service has changed in regards to how them interact and communicate with you, and that's what I've experienced. Some of the other people may experience where they're not as courteous or not as polite, and so on and so forth. But in terms of my experience, I have seen an improvement in how they interact with people. And I guess the modernization that's taking place, because it is now being modernized, is starting to bear some fruit. There's a long way to go, but don't have an expectation of that it's going to be changed overnight. It is changing, but it's going to take time. And that's what I would say. You know, I just think that sometimes they do get a bad rap But at the end of the day, you know, majority of people in Jamaica just are trying to survive. You know what I mean? Really, at the bottom, at the bottom line, and yeah, sometimes they will bend the rules in order for that to happen, and that's also reality of being in Jamaica, in that regard, in my view.
Okay. T, did you want to ask another question before I go to my next question?
Well, it's linked to Africa. So I hear that there are a lot of Jamaicans that are making transition to places like Ghana. So do you know any Jamaicans that have decided to do that, Kwame and Tremayne?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Tremayne?
Oh, sorry. I thought you was going to elaborate. No, I don't know. I don't know Jamaicans that's gone to Ghana, but I definitely know there are a lot of Jamaicans in Ghana. I was in Ghana in January, and boy, Jamaicans are famous. Like every time my friends took me somewhere, they'd be like, "She's Jamaican. She's from Jamaica. She lives in Jamaica." Like I was like, "Okay." Like my name's Tremayne. But so a lot of people, my dad has a lot of friends that live in Ghana. But yeah, a lot of Jamaicans, and they was like, "Oh yeah, take her to where Rita Martin lives, and just tell them that you're from Jamaica, and they'll let you in." But yeah, there's a lot of Jamaicans in Ghana.
This is in Ghana.
There are a lot of Jamaicans there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the differences? What are the differences into both places, if you don't mind elaborating on, please?
For me, well,
sorry,
no. Oh, okay, yes. There are a lot of Jamaicans there, and even when I went there, I met quite a few. And they have their reasons as to why they go to Ghana. Mainly to be in the motherland, you know, to connect with roots and kind of stuff. To me, the only difference is in the food and the language. That's it. You could pick up Jamaica, transplant it into Ghana, and you would not know the difference between the people. Only the food and the language.
Yeah,
I disagree though. I disagree because I think with the Ghanaians, they're a lot more calmer in comparison.
Definitely, no, that's definitely
different. I believe personally that even though there's a lot of us from Ghana, there's obviously the Maroons and everything when you got Upper Pong and places like that, but in Jamaica, but in terms of like in the west of West Africa, I think we're more like the Nigerians. I'm sorry, like Ghana is too calm for Jamaicans. There's a lot of resemblance and things like that. But in terms of the attitude and everything, we are blatantly Nigerians. I think that they were mixed up.
Yeah. It was mixed. You know what I mean? But that's what I think. I don't think that we can. Yeah. No, because like I said, it's true, but we are mixed. It's sort of the you'll find calm Jamaicans, you'll find outrageous Jamaicans. You know what I mean? But for me, like I said, you can transplant Jamaica, lift it up, put it in Ghana, and you would not know the difference, aside from the food and the language. That's what I say.
And also, I would definitely agree, Kaz, because that's one thing that I said, that is that the people are a lot more calmer. But in when you go to Ghana, well, from my experience, it was just like Jamaica. I just felt it didn't feel like I was anywhere different. I was expecting to get this feeling, but I think it's because it's so much like Jamaica. I just felt at home being in Ghana.
I'm just reading some of the comments that's coming through as well. Sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. I can just about speak English and read English. And I have got a degree. Don't ask me how. And I didn't pay nobody. Yeah, so Bakonzi said, I agree. And guess what? Iola, do the same as you would in the UK and the USA. Racism is at its core. Check them, they'll remember. Okay, so there's obviously a conversations going on between themselves over it.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so my next question was this. What has Jamaica taught you? What has Jamaica taught you about yourself?
Kwame, you want to go first?
All right. What does Jamaica taught me about myself? What does Jamaica taught me? It's taught me, yeah. Because, for example, like I said, being in the UK, you get to a part of the point in regards to who you are as an individual. You know what I mean? You're not, and like I said, like Jordan, my experiences of working in organizations, you're not valued. I remember that. I remember not being valued, and I even though I have self-confidence and I have value within myself in terms of what I was doing in regards to the role that I was playing, I wasn't valued. And what Jamaica has done in regards to me being here on the ground, doing what I'm doing, and the appreciation that I'm getting in regards to the work that I'm doing is wonderful, because it's going far and wide, and I can say that hand on heart that I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I'm at peace with it. I'm okay with it. I'm glad I'm here, and what Jamaica has done for me is basically brought me that peace. As a matter of fact, like I said, I had struggled with high blood pressure in the UK because of the pressures and the stresses that, you know, in environments and work environment and that kind of stuff. But being in Jamaica, being here, I'm at peace. I'm fine. So for me, Jamaica has been able to give me that peace of mind, that serenity that I'm grateful for, and it's enabled me to tap into my creativity more so than when I was in the UK. So for me, that's and I value that. Like Tremayne said earlier, in regards to, I can just jump in a car, go for a drive in the country, go to a beach and just chill out. You know what I mean? And be one with nature in a sense. You know what I mean? I could go up into the bush and go find some fresh food or whatever. And yeah, you can't get no better than that. You know, you just living. You know, so Jamaica has given me, I am living and not just existing. You know, that's me.
That's powerful. I'm living and not just existing, because I definitely have that in England, and we have this conversation all the time. And even myself knew Tremayne, because I met Tremayne. When did I meet you? In 2020.
Yes.
And how we got connected. Big up to Nana if you're watching her live, and big up your birthday for tomorrow, your Earth Strong. Nana connected us, a good friend of ours, and I kind of knew by when I was speaking to Tremayne that this was the person I met at Elsha Beach, and then we just, it just connected. But basically, coming off what you just said in terms of existing, I find being in England, we are just existing. We're not really living our true, authentic self, because, we're in a system and we're kind of controlled and we're programmed to be in a certain way. You understand what I'm saying? And it's just, it's crazy. But anyway, I'm going into something totally different. But Tremayne, what has Jamaica taught you, about yourself?
It's taught me that I definitely can adapt to different situations and circumstances, because you have to adapt to, sometimes you could be watching a good show, or it could be hot as fire, and then electricity just goes. And then it's just like no light, and you can't watch the program, you forgot to charge your phone, the fan is gone, no fan. So, I've learned that I could be resourceful, I can fix things, So, I've definitely learned that I'm very resourceful. I can adapt to different situations. And, you appreciate little things a lot more as well. So I have an appreciation for little things, and in Jamaica, for instance, someone can cook a tin of mackerel and rice and the food just tastes so good.
Yes.
But if we're in England and we look in our cupboard and we just got mackerel or corned beef, we ain't got no food. We're going to get takeaway. We're going to go shop, and they can make a meal out of nothing, and it tastes better than if you did get a meal from a restaurant. So those things is like you can be creative with little, as much less than you could be here, or your mindset is just different there. Just appreciate things more. And what it's also taught me that I love fish, because I love Helsha. I'm there all the time. So those festivals, boy, and that fish, just salt and pepper, it's even the fish with. and the fish tastes like gourmet fish. I love it. I love it. So yeah, no, I've just learned to be a lot more resourceful and appreciate things.
What?
Yeah. And you know, it's funny you should say that, Tremayne. Yeah. Something I was sharing regarding exactly what you just said. I said I came back to Jamaica like on a Saturday. The Sunday morning, my neighbor came and gave me breakfast. And that for me shows if I was in the UK, that would never happen. As a matter of fact, they come and give me mango. They come, you know what I mean? They just come and just come give me, you know what I mean? And I said to myself, that's the difference. If I'm in the UK, I remember passing by Tottenham there and I saw the food banks. I said to myself, man, the line for the food banks. I said to myself, can you imagine? Them people that don't have that kind of neighbor or that just come and just give them food just so. You know? I thought if they don't have the food, you know, that's them supper, you know? You know what I mean? So for me, that's important, and you raised it before, Tremayne, in regards to people. The people are what make Jamaica what Jamaica is, and I know one thing: I won't starve in Jamaica. I guarantee that. You know, I won't starve. But boy, I don't know what happens if I was in the UK. I can tell you that.
But then this was the thing that I was going to basically ask about in terms of the community, because I remember even being on the phone with you, Kwame, and your neighbor come and bring your dinner, and I'm like, check she want check in, Kwame, and Kwame's like, oh, like give me a food, because obviously it's like abnormal over it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, my neighbor ain't come to knock my door and say, yo, I just fried 2 fish. You want a fish? You understand? No one ain't knocking my door. No one. I could be set to hunger in here. No one ain't coming knocking this door. You understand? Yeah. But I will knock my neighbors and say, "Hey, hey, you want peace?" You know. But I guess what I'm saying is, in terms of the community, it's a lot more warmer. People look out for each other. You know, like if they not see Mr. Brown down the road for a little while, everyone gonna find out what happened to Mr. Brown. Over it, you could probably be dead in your yard for about a month or so, and then someone would use it. That's so different. And you understand what I'm saying? It's like it's just so it's so cold in the UK.
Yeah, and that's why I said I'm living and not just existing. You know, and that's why I would say that, because you're appreciate it. You know, people appreciate you. And like I said, when your neighbor come and give you food or fruits or, you know what I mean, and that happens. The neighbor just a friend in the country and the neighbors come get some banana and some plant, you know, whatever, coconut and all them things. That's all. You know what I mean? Just come get food. You know? So that's a difference, a massive difference in regards to how people look out for each other in that regard.
So saying that, is there anything from the UK that you would miss? If there was one thing that you could take from here and bring it over to Jamaica, what would it be, Tremayne?
For me, it definitely would be the clothes, the shopping. Like, I have to come back and get my shopping. I go to America, but yeah, that's the only thing. Even though now you can order River Island and your stuff and it gets shipped there, so it has changed a lot. But yeah, I just miss the clothes. Even though fashion's just rubbish at the moment, but just having that access to buying new clothes and stuff. So like the shopping elements and stuff, I do miss. But I could live without it. But if I could carry something, it would be that, like just having to access to get new stuff and quality stuff. Because one thing that, you know, they always say, English stuff, the quality is very good. The stuff lasts long. So I like when I get like sandals or clothes from here, because you know the difference between buying clothes there and here, because they definitely last. Quality is a lot better. But I think it comes down to when they're making clothes, like certain countries, they can get past certain laws and requirements, but England, our stipulations for the quality is a lot stronger. So maybe that's why our quality of clothes are a bit better, you know?
Nice. What about yourself, Kwame?
The theatre. I love the West End. I love that kind of thing. The opera, the theatre, the play, the dramas, all that kind of stuff. I love to watch and visit those kind of things. So for me, that's the only thing I'd say I'd miss, you know. But the food you can get here, you know, you can, I like Tremayne said, you can order it in if you wanted it. In terms of, you know, the preservative food or the food that long lasting. But yeah, that's and aside from the friends and stuff like that, you know, but yeah, the main thing is the theater. I love going to the theater. Yeah, but one of them things, you know, you have to give up something for something.
Lovely.
So
well, like I said, no, I was just very impressed the last time I went back. For those that don't know, because for me, the transportation was an issue when I first went down. It did scare me, and getting into taxis getting into taxis with people that were sitting on you, like I had 3 people sitting on
it. I think it's cool. I think that's a part of the culture.
No, don't get me wrong. I did do it because I just think it's part of the culture. But when I went back with my children and we were able to access the Knutsford Express, that was revolutionary for me, because I was just like, we can go wherever we want, like long distance. And what I loved about it was that the idea was born out of a project. Some young people in Jamaica, they had to do a project, and out of it, this amazing business. So if I could transport anything to Jamaica, for me, it would be transportation, safe transportation, especially for the children. That's what my angst is about, is the many children that get safely and that get, you know, killed in road accidents. For me, that's something that if I went back, I would want to have school buses for our children, safe.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree on that one for sure. So, okay, so you know, like people. So I've always been talking to people and saying, "Yo, you know, I've always been saying I'm going to live in Jamaica. I'm going to move to Jamaica." And people say, why do I want to live over there? Jamaica hard. Like, you know, people just make it sound like, and I just think to myself, but England's hard as well. Like, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So what advice would you give to anybody what advice would you give to me? Because I want to go to Jamaica. Well, people's telling me it's hard. What advice would you give to someone like myself and others that may be watching, that may potentially want to move to Jamaica or move to somewhere in the West Indies, but obviously because of the lifestyle, because we're programmed to be a certain way and live in a certain way in the West, what advice would you give to them? You know, I mean, to be quite honest, you touched on so many areas, so you kind of like touched on everything, but what other additional advice would you give to somebody that's watching?
I would say that it's all about your mindset as well. But if you want to do it the programmed or the right way, I would say, you know, save some money, try and get some sort of a job or income. So when you get there, you know, you've got income coming in. I would say go for 6 months or 3 months and, you know, and experience it, like living there for a time as well. And because, you know, just like they say, see me and live with me is 2 different things. When you go on a holiday, it is different to when you live there. But I would say that, I would say save money, at least so that you can take care of yourself for at least a year or 6 months before you go. Because, you know, the other side to Jamaica is that everyone's got to have a bit of hustler in them. Because in Jamaica, you have to know to hustle. So if you got that mindset and you got a mindset that you're unlimited, then, you know, you can do anything. Listen, people have a bowl of oranges and they start a business. My friend, he started with a bucket of water and a sponge, and now he has a car wash business. He's built his house from scratch, a 3-bedroom house, and he started with a bucket of water, and then obviously built up and bought power washes and stuff. And, you know, some people just sell oranges on the street. So you can do whatever you want. You know, it's what type of level of life you want to have and experience, and it's also your mindset as well. And you know, for Jamaicans, like if they don't sell the oranges or they don't do certain things, they don't eat. So
Exactly.
the mindset is very different. You have to find opportunities in everything that you do. But if you want to do it that way, I would say save. I would say go and experience it for 6 months or 3 months. Have income that you've got your business that you can do from anywhere, or you've got a job to go to when you get there. But I would say definitely do it. You have to, if something you want to do it and experience it. Don't be like, oh, I wish I did it, I shoulda, coulda, don't be that person. Experience it. Life is for living, and you're not gonna really know until you do it. And it's as I said before, it is safe. And you're not going to go hungry, because if you can pick orange, you can pick mango, you can't go hungry. So you'll be fine. But the right way to do it, is to save some money and maybe try experiencing it first, and then decide and try and have a job, or that you've got income when you're out there, and also source where you're going to live and stay, and that make sure it's a safe area and stuff.
So would you advise them really is to really plan? Because I've heard like some stories on YouTube where people haven't planned, you just not turned up, but obviously they've been going to Jamaica back and forth. So they've got like, idea of what they want to do, but they don't really have a whole heap of money, but they've made networks, connections, and they're doing really, really well for themselves.
Yeah, I would say I was lucky in the sense of that my aunt offered me the job, but I never had no plan. I didn't have nowhere to stay. I didn't have no documents. I could say, all right, I had a job, but and that is important because you got income. But I learned a lot as I went along. I didn't have documents. I did everything once I got there and went along. So I'm a person that I'm happy to just go. But some people aren't like that. So it just depends who you are, and as I said, your mindset. But planning, as I say, you plan to fail if you don't plan. So planning is always an advantage. But some people just take the step and just go, and it works. So I think it's just down to the individual and your mindset. But if you want to be safe, or you're a person that needs to know that you've got a sense of security, then I would say save some money and make sure you have your plan, and make sure that you've got an income that's coming in.
Kwame?
I totally agree with Tremayne. She's correct. The most important thing is a mindset, because you're coming into a completely different environment that you're not familiar with. You're coming into an environment that has its own isms and nuances, and knowing how to maneuver those and navigate them is, you have to have the mind. So, for example, like Ray's about going into the bank and stuff. You're probably going to a bank and see a long line longer than, and then you're wondering about customer, and then you get customer service. And if you let those little things frustrate you, then you'll be frustrated about the bigger things. So it is about a mindset, and having a mindset that can adapt and be able to just accept things for what they are, and now try to change them as how you think they should be, because it's not gonna work. Jamaicans don't like to be told what to do in that sense. You have to take your time and assimilate and integrate, and then you're able to share ideas and so on and so forth. So the mindset is the most important thing. And then obviously research, whereby people need to research, like Tremayne said, where they're gonna go, how they're gonna have an income. Some people are adventurous, they just up and go. I had a friend who did that. Just up and came to Jamaica, and she made it work. But the only thing she had were qualifications as being a herbalist and nutritionist. And she was able to create her own business from that, having her own standalone office and all that kind of stuff. Somebody else I know who you probably do know, Kaz, in terms of Troy came, but he didn't have any idea what to do. And in the end, he's now got a really vibrant fashion store, celebrity clothing. Yeah, and he only did that in a couple of years. But the mindset that he had, was that he was going to make something work, and he made it work. So there are opportunities in Jamaica. There are loads of opportunities, but the most important thing is having the mindset to capitalize on those opportunities. So that for me is the most important thing. And then, like I said, research, which comes second in terms of where you're going to live, how you're going to make an income, how you're going to network, who you're going to network with, all that kind of stuff. But definitely mindset.
I like that, because I think that's, you know, I always think about it whenever I go to Jamaica, because obviously when you go to Jamaica on holiday, anything just feels nice. You understand what I'm saying? Of course you want to be there, but then, you know, you have to think about, like what you were saying, Tremayne, to come like for 3 months or 6 months, come for a long period of time, just to see how you could see yourself on the island and what work opportunities, or what would you do, because you know, you might have a great idea and it may be something that could definitely work within the island itself. But I do always think to myself personally, like, if I was to live in Jamaica, who would I be? You know, who would I be in terms of what other creation will come out of me being in Jamaica? Because like you said, if you don't work, you don't eat. You know, like over there, if you don't work, you've always got like universal credit, you've got something, you understand what I'm saying? Even though we're contributing to the service, but we're very much, what's the word I'm looking for? We're quite spoiled over there. We don't really need to tap too deep into the creativity, because everything's more or less kind of like given to us. Some people may disagree that is watching, but I feel that, you know, when you can make the comparison to, say, like in the West Indies or in Africa, it's a very much of it's like a survival mode. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you don't have family or anybody to support you, you're not going to really make it. Do you know what I mean? So you have to tap into what's inside here. What can I do?
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Lou has a saying, turn your hand into fashion, or turn your hand into fashion. You know what I mean? So you have to do something in order to get something, or to create something, in order to live, really. You know what I mean? In order to have that foundation of what you're going to be. So you have to, and that you're right. You have to tap into that creativity, that creative part of yourself, much deeper. And that's what I alluded to earlier in regards to creativity. My creativity is coming to the fore, and all the things that I'm doing, and it's manifesting, you know. And yeah. So for sure, Kaz, for sure.
And just to add, there are job agencies that you can find out about jobs. I have one, and I still get advertisements and job opportunities to this day. So they send it by email. It's called Caribbean Jobs. So I can give you the link, you can post it, so they can tell you what jobs are available in whatever field that you're looking for. So, and you can, you know, do your application from here and stuff. So there, if you want to go into, you know, the same career, or you want to be employed, then there's opportunities as well to apply for jobs from here, because I tried to do that in the past, and they always tell you, send you alerts and tell you when jobs become available. So there is that aspect as well.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, we're like almost 2 hours into the conversation. I'm gonna wrap up in a moment, but before we wrap up, I was gonna share the link with those who are watching the live that may want to jump into the live for the next. How long do you guys have? Before I do that, because I don't want to do it and you guys ain't got no time. Have you got 20 more minutes, or?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, Miss T?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, Kwame. All right, so what I'm going to do, all of those who are watching, I've just shared the link for the StreamYard. So if you want to jump into the live, this is the time for you to do so. We've got giving ourselves another 20 minutes, just in case you are somebody that is living in Jamaica or somewhere else in the Caribbean or in Africa, and you want to share your story, please do click into that link I've just shared, and then you can join the live. But make sure you are sharing by showing your face. We don't want an avatar. We don't want anything of that nature. We need to see you visually, and make sure you do keep things really clean and constructive as well. So, yes. So my next thing I was going to ask is Jamaica independence, 6th of August. What are your guys' plans for Jamaica independence? Are we even really independent though?
Exactly.
No.
I don't have any
No. No, me neither. Well, aside from again, it's the group that we're gonna have. We're having a link up. We're having a link up the following weekend. So that's what's gonna be happening. But aside from that, I'll probably chill somewhere, some drinking spot, or and go on easy. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but is it a big thing in Jamaica? Like, do people take Jamaica
Yes, man.
independence? Oh, they do take
Yeah,
it
man.
really big.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's massive, man. Massive. It's been an entire year of celebration. There's gonna be a lot of stuff, galas, all sorts of stuff, road march, whatever you call it. It's a big thing, massive thing. It's gonna be a big thing at the stadium. Yeah, man. It's big. It's big.
Wow. So, in terms of like the Queen being head of state, what's happening with that? Is she like, because obviously Barbados is taking that away. So what's Jamaica's plan?
Jamaica's plan, well, what they've done, they've created a ministry to deal with all the constitutional affairs. So the whole idea is to move towards getting rid of the Queen, hopefully in the next year and a half, 2 years. So that's a plan, because I guess a lot has to go into it in terms of changing from one administrative structure to another. So, which I mean changing the constitution, right? So a ministry has been set up for that. So we will see what comes out of it to deal with that. So they said that by the next election something should happen. So we'll see.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, Miss T, do you have anything that you want to?
Right. So I've been following. I think it's Chief Curry. Around the cockpit.
All right. Yeah.
You tell. You're on the ground there. Tell me what you know about it.
Well, basically, what has happened, and the government's been trying to do is they're trying to take a little piece of the cockpit country in terms of for mining, and it's mainly mining for bauxite. Now, the argument is in terms of boundaries. You know what I mean, in regards to what is the right or the legal boundaries in which the government can do so, and where the Maroons have claimed is theirs. So that's where the issue has come up in regards to the conflict in between the Maroons and the government. It's where it's at now. I think it's in court, if I remember rightly, because I think he went to court recently to try and get it clarified and to try and get it basically not for them to do it. But public opinion has been against the whole idea in terms of any mining being done in the cockpit country at all, which is great. So the government has to take a step back, and like I said, as far as I'm aware, I think it's in court for them to deal with in regards to legalities of the boundary and where the government can mine or where the mining company can go. That's where it's at. But Chief Coffee has really, put him foot down and say, no, this not gonna happen on my watch.
I rate him.
Yes.
I rate him.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah,
because when you think about it, because that's the history, in terms of what we've been through as a people, and for them, the Maroons, to keep that piece of land, for themselves, and obviously they've got the British Treaty and everything else. So it's like, why would you come and erupt that? I just think it's just a liberty. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it is. It is. As far as we're concerned, anything that historical or has our identity as a nation, as a people, should be touched. You know what I mean? That's my view. But the government may have a different view in regards to, putting money in the coffers or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but he's done well. So, like I said, as far as I'm aware, it's in court. So we'll see what happens. What comes out of it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Have you been to Okapong?
No problem.
Any of you?
Not yet. I intend to go. I intend to go. I need to go to Moortown or Nannytown or any one of the Maroon towns.
When you got there, all I can just say is hold on to the side of the car properly, because when I went up there, it must have been like 2019. I couldn't believe I was just in this place where it was my friend Nana, our friend Nana Tremayne, that kept saying to me, well, you don't go up to see the Marines, you don't go up there. And I'm thinking, bruv, like, allow me in it. So anyway, I eventually went up there, and mate, the drive was hard. It was a hard drive. I really felt bad for my dad. And even my uncle was like, why would you put your dad through this? And I was like, I didn't know the drive was going to be like it. It was so up in the mountains. I'd never seen anything quite like it. There was no, like, 2 cars couldn't drive on the same time. On that road to go up to But what I loved about it was in terms of hearing about the history, about the Maroons, and like you say, about the storytelling and everything else. And it's like I could visualize, you know, like the Ghanaians like fighting against the Brits and everything else, and you know, signaling each other, and every minute the Brits get kill off, and they couldn't fight them, they just couldn't deal with them. Do you know what I mean? So it was such, there was a peace there as well. And something that they also shared was if there's any like dispute between each other, they will have to go to this I can't remember what it was, but it's like there was like trees, and they would sit down and they have to talk, they have to reason it.
Council, yeah.
So I think they must have had like one murder up there from since 17 how much years ago, 1758 or whatever it is. There's only been like one murder up there, you know, and it's just like, what, you know? And to think, you hear about Jamaica, there's so much crime, etc., and then you go there and it's just so peaceful. They're just normal people, but it's just the peace, you know, just how they just adapt, and they kept certain kind of certain things of the culture from Ghana. They've still kept it, do you know what I mean, kind of thing. But yeah, it was just so beautiful just to hear that part of the history. But I was quite surprised not a lot of Jamaican people know about it, about Okapong.
They do. A lot of Jamaicans do, but the thing is it's not taught enough, in my opinion. I don't think it's taught enough in schools. I don't think it's taught enough in regards to how important it is to the culture, our culture. What in saying that, there is a Maroon Day that takes place at Nannytown, if I remember rightly. So they do have a day where outsiders can come in and enjoy.
Yeah, the 6th of January.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that is a way, and I intend to go. I haven't gone yet, but I intend to go to partake and enjoy too. You know, to learn also.
Definitely. And like you said, it's not really taught in their schools and that. I mean, I'm a big adult, you know what I mean? And I never knew anything about it. My dad didn't even know anything about it. And, you know, and these are people that is from the island, and not many people do know about it. So I think that's something that definitely needs to be, you know, more educated.
Come on. It does. It needs to be, I think that the entire story, we do know the story, but I don't think, you know, when you're knowing the story and knowing the story, you know what I mean? I just think that we don't know the story to the fullness. And I think, and anything to do with Africa in that regard, in my view, we don't know the story. You know what I mean? We know of it, but we don't know it intimately, you know?
Okay, so we're going to wrap up on the show because nobody's coming to join, I don't believe. Let me just double check. Yeah, nobody's joining. And I just want to thank you both for your time. It's been an absolute blessing. I hope you guys who are watching it live are enjoying the show, and those who are catching the replay. And how can people connect with yourself, Kwame?
Well, I can... I'm on some on some social media. I'm on Metaverse at author Kwame McPherson, LinkedIn Kwame McPherson, on Instagram Max Key as on here, MAXKEY, or they can email me at Kwame McPherson, that's KWAME McPherson MCPHERSON @gmail.com. And that's how they can contact me.
Thank you. And Tremayne?
Yeah, so people want to get in touch with me, they can reach out to me via Instagram on Tremayne TLG at Instagram, or by email, and it's the same, Tremayne TLG @gmail.com. And you can ask for any questions that you've got surrounding this, or, you know, anything to do with Jamaica, you can reach me that way. And also have another Instagram, which is Sun Diamond Tea at Instagram as well. So you can reach me on any of those Instagrams or email address.
I would add, I think both their Instagram information is actually in the actual description of this actual conversation. So feel free to connect with them. Their Instagram handles is in the content of the description of the show. Yep. So any last words before we exit?
I would just say thank you, obviously, for inviting me on the show. I've really enjoyed having this conversation. And I like that, you know, we're talking positive things about Jamaica, and because we live there, we have experienced what Jamaica is about. So I think it's really good that people get this message, and, you know, don't let the media and people's perceptions put you off. Experience it for yourself, and just, you know, do if that's something you want to do, just do it. Don't wait. Time waits for no one. You only live once. Enjoy your life, and definitely go and take that step. It's worth it. You won't regret it. I'll tell you that much.
and I completely agree with me in there. I personally have no regrets. You know what I mean? I have no regret whatsoever. You know what I mean? How can I have regret when a woman going to look at me and say, "Oh, my jeans fit nice"? You know, come on. You know what I mean? So really and truly, yeah, thank you for the opportunity to share. And there needs to be, like I said, in terms of the narrative, a lot more positivity, like platform, in regards to letting people be aware and to understand, and how they, and like Tremayne said, come and experience it for yourself. You know what I mean? Come on and immerse yourself in Jamaica to understand it, and to yeah, it's a great place to be. It really is a wonderful place to be. So those are my final words.
Okay, Miss T, any last words? And do you want to share your handles as well, just in case?
Oh, I don't know about that. So yeah, I'm only on Instagram at Mighty Locks. If you would like to email me, my email address is mightynubian144@gmail.com. And I would just like to say that I'm just proud to be a Jamaican, because wherever I go on this planet, they know about our island, and that's the best marketing we can ever have. So there you go. Thank you for coming and having that amazing conversation with us, Tremayne and Kwame. I'm grateful.
Thank you, guys. So just one moment. I'm just gonna. All right. So.
Oh, come off it.
All right. So bye, Kwame. Don't go nowhere. Nobody go nowhere. Right. So Miss T. Oh my gosh, I feel full right now. I just feel like I need to go on the plane like now and go to Jamaica.
I miss home. I miss home. One of the things about getting off the plane when I first went, and the heat just hitting you, and the smell and everything, I was just like, I'm home. And you just feel, you do, this weight comes off of you, and you just feel the connection. Ancestral, like, I don't know what it is, I can't put my finger on it, but I just knew that I was home and that I wanted to visit more. So don't let anybody stop you. Don't let any of the bad stories, the good, just go and experience for yourself. And I trust me, you'll love it.
I agree with you. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Make sure you share, tell a friend to tell a friend. We are going to continue to give you some great content. Do join us next week, Wednesday, same place, same time. We have an amazing guest. We have Nana from Access UK, who's going to be joining us. We have LJ Newman, who's going to be joining us. And the topic is about employment versus self-employment. So make sure you lock in with us. Until next time, peace out. Ladies.